Every war has a turning point. That is the moment when the course and direction of the war begin to change. Is this the very turning point in the US-Iran war that we are witnessing now? Remember, Iran is not fighting this war to win, but to deny victory to the other side. This is the entire philosophy, that we will not let America win. They will drag this war out even longer, and despite so much bombing in that sector, Iran still appears to be successful in some way, because America no longer has the same international support or narrative it once did. Whatever little respect was left has been completely shattered. The world can now see this shamelessness clearly. See, in just 1 week, America's hypocrisy has been exposed to everyone. Just 11 weeks ago, what was Donald Trump saying to the Iranians? He said, "Look, I have come to save you. Rise, immortal sons of the land, rebuild, create a new Iran. All you have to do is come out onto the streets." He didn't even go as far as to say, "Give me your blood. I am giving you freedom. All you have to do is come out onto the streets to overthrow the government." Within just 1 week, because Iran did not surrender and people did not come out onto the streets. So look at what the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is saying, that the people of Iran, the Iranian public, should be worried. Will we even let them live or not?
No one said they were putting their own people in danger. But the only one that right now Iran seems to think they're on V.
From the liberation of Tehran to the devastation of Tehran, we have witnessed this long journey within the span of just 1 single week, Adi. And now, the sense of desperation has become so intense that Israel has targeted 5 of Iran's critical energy sites located all around Tehran. That is, oil storage depots and fuel distribution facilities. About 30 such fuel and oil depots have been targeted. The whole world is witnessing the result. Fireballs so massive they can be seen from miles away. At this very moment, Tehran is sitting under a thick and suffocating blanket of toxic black smoke, and the entirety of the city's metropolitan area is filled with the unmistakable smell of burning oil. There was heavy rainfall there, which was black and oily. Black rain is currently falling over Tehran. And this thick smog, this massive plume of smoke, is extremely dangerous because living in it and constantly breathing it in can even lead to the development of serious illnesses like cancer. And this very pollution, this burning, now this smoke is about to spread throughout the entire region. Those who have witnessed the Kuwait war will remember that because of the burning oil wells there, millions of people developed cancer years later. This is happening right in the heart of Tehran. So just imagine what all people will have to face. Now diseases are about to spread. Iran's oil distribution company has confirmed that 6 employees were killed right then, and the fire is still burning. The spokesperson for Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps responded by saying, "All right, if you want to set our oil supplies on fire as well, then go right ahead. But you must be prepared to pay $200 per barrel for oil. This dirty game that you are playing with us, we will play the same dirty game with you." Keep in mind that there has also been an attempt to attack Iran's water supply. There was even a specific attempt to target the desalination plant, where seawater is processed to be made drinkable. So in one way or another, all kinds of tactics, both good and bad, are being used. How is carpet bombing happening over Tehran? We have already told you about this. Now, the new threat from Iran is that if you do this, if you hit our oil, then we will hit oil all over the world. That is now clearly visible in the market. If we talk about oil, the price has risen from $65 per barrel to $100, and now oil is priced at $110 per barrel. Qatar's energy minister has said that it could reach $150 per barrel in 2 to 3 weeks. If the oil producers in the Gulf now cease all of their production, the Strait of Hormuz is still being under heavy bombardment. The US is now actively engaging and attacking Iranian ships, and the tanker traffic there has completely collapsed. 80 to 90% of the tanker traffic has now been halted due to this war with Iran. Iran had threatened that if any ship other than those from China passes through here, they could burn it or attack it. On the other hand, if you talk about Iraq, production there is also down by 70%. Kuwait has also gradually started cutting its output. The consequences of this have already started to be felt in the US. Within just 1 week, fuel prices have risen from $2.95 to $4.10. The price of diesel is also increasing in America. American analysts are saying that the spike you are seeing is the sharpest ever recorded. In American history, the Donald Trump administration is going to face significant difficulties because of this. Because look, pay close attention on TV and then go to the gas station. Expensive. There's a huge difference when it comes to filling up with fuel. That's why even there, it seems like WhatsApp is being used. Only one message has been sent out. To calm everyone down, that this is just a matter of a few days later, there will be a lot of profit.
This is short-term pain for long-term gain. It is a bit of pain for a significant long-term gain and a lasting result.
It seems so. Even in America, the Godi media, experts, and anchors get messages on WhatsApp about what to say and what not to say. Big bosses send out these messages. But the Wall Street Journal, which is quite respected, itself says that this is the most severe energy crisis hitting America. Since 1970, America has already been dealing with a weakening economy and rising prices due to inflation. And now comes this major war. Obviously, because of this, Trump is not very happy. Especially with these visuals of burning oil, even children are quite disturbed. But how can you set oil on fire like this? That's why they say that we had no hand in this. Israel was the one who carried out the attack. Israel targeted the oil facilities without informing America. Now take Lindsey Graham, for example. He is the biggest devotee of the Pope. He has no problem with bombing girls. But the Israeli government is saying, man, by destroying these oil fields, you're only hurting us in the end, right? Bomb a little more carefully. Kill the kids if you must, but these are oil facilities. But why are you attacking them? Remember, Lindsey Graham is a very honest kind of person, a huge supporter of Trump, but he always speaks the truth.
Go over gun to have new Marist v. Go Mac.
All these objections and such on TV, the media gets leaked reports that Israel did all this without informing us. But the real thing is that all these stories are planted in the media so that America is shown in a good light and Israel in a bad light. Keep playing good cop, bad cop, keep fooling the world, and keep making money for yourselves. Both sides know that this war, the way it should have gone, hasn't gone in that direction. The way it was managed, Iran hasn't played out in that manner. If Trump was really unhappy, if Israel had carried out the strike without America's approval, then why are you supporting line 2? Brother, if you stop Israel, Israel will back off on its own. Remember, there is also a growing consensus in America that this is not America's war. This is Israel's war, America. I don't know why it's getting involved in the middle of this. Remember, Israel has tried to do this before as well. They've tried it with many other presidents too, whether it was Clinton, Obama, or even Biden. But they also found such a useful idiot who, after listening to them, would launch an attack like this. All right, you said it, and the attack was carried out. Within a week, you also realized why the previous 6 presidents didn't attack, so you should withdraw. But now Trump is stuck. He can't withdraw. And the reason for that is the Epstein Files. This means even more US soldiers, even more children in Iran, even more trillions of dollars, and even more stock market crashes. Because one specific individual wants to save himself from impeachment, another person wants to escape his past criminal activities and dark deeds. These Epstein Files have Donald Trump's name written prominently everywhere. The new revelations make it absolutely clear what Trump did with those vulnerable young girls. Now no one can escape from this.
Trump's name appears many times in those unsealed court files detailing disturbing allegations.
From the beginning, we have been saying that this war is connected to the Epstein Files. Its threads are linked. And now this has become absolutely clear. Let's talk about the new revelations that have come out in the Epstein Files. But first, it's also very important to understand the latest updates in the war. The very first point is that no matter how many smart worms America deploys, the dream of regime change has now been shattered. Because the regime, the Islamic regime there, is going to become even stronger and perhaps even more radical. Because in its smart bomb attack, America not only killed Khamenei, but also, along with him, the few moderates, the leaders America thought it could negotiate with, were also killed in this attack. This has also been confirmed. And that's why now there are no moderates left in Iran. Nobody who wants to talk to America. There is only one supreme leader left who is even more radical. Iran's new leader has now been chosen. Iran's assembly of experts, which is made up of senior clerics, has now made its final decision. Mojtaba Khamenei, whom we have talked about before, this has now been confirmed. It has been confirmed that he is now the next supreme leader. The son of the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has now become the 3rd supreme leader. He is 56 years old and maintains a low profile in Iran. He has never held a formal government office, but he is firmly established in the corridors of power. He knows how things work. He is known as a gatekeeper and power broker, not really a statesman. So this means that if America tries to talk to him, there are likely to be some difficulties, because his connections are more closely tied to the Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC. By the time he was only 17 years old, he had already participated in the Iran-Iraq War. Consequently, he is very deeply and thoroughly integrated into Iran's security establishment. Now just think, previously there had been significant discussion that America would negotiate with a liberal leader or perhaps with Khamenei, who himself used to balance the various institutions. But now, his son will operate much more closely in alignment with the IRGC. So he is considered even more hardline. Some people are even calling him corrupt, because their accounts can also be found in Switzerland. They own property in London, luxury hotels worth millions of dollars in Europe and Dubai. They even have their own villa. But if America is thinking that they will see some moderation or have a dialogue with them, if they expect this, then that's going to be a bit of a problem. They can understand why. Because his wife, his father, his mother, more than half of his family, almost everyone, was wiped out in a single strike by Trump and Israel's smart bombs targeting Iran. So there's a slim chance that they would like Donald Trump. All right, so that's the situation in Iran. Even for America, the problems there are only increasing. Because a divide is forming and it's clearly visible. If you talk about international support, even Switzerland, which has maintained its neutrality for hundreds of years, is now saying that this war is wrong. Even they have broken their neutrality. So just imagine how bad the situation could get. Former leaders, diplomats, now they're even saying that sanctions should be imposed on America. You have launched this war in such a disgraceful manner. Countries like Spain have already distanced themselves. Now the president of Mexico is also joining in. This is being said against American high-handedness and arrogance. The UN, of course, has strongly condemned it, but the UN was already dead anyway, so let's leave that aside. There's not even any point in talking about it. But when international opinion is split like this, it will give China and Russia more room and reason to play their own great game and to come forward to save Iran. Remember that. Iran is not alone in this war. Even if it's from behind the scenes, it is getting considerable support. In our previous episode, we explained this interesting geopolitical situation to you. We had explained this situation to you. So on one side, Iran is unifying and bringing forth new leadership. At the same time, we are also seeing divisions between the US and Israel. Now, whether these divisions are superficial or deep is something to watch, but the fault lines are definitely visible. America wants oil, and Israel wants the complete destruction of Iran. On one hand, America is saying, you should have notified us. You attacked the oil infrastructure. But Israel went so far with its attack that even America was shocked. Just imagine, more than 80 Israeli jets, over 230 bombs were dropped. Oil depots, fuel facilities, civilian infrastructure. But think about it. When this happened, it is said that the reaction of the Trump administration, according to some American independent digital publications. Brother, how did this even happen? One of Trump's advisors said on record that the president absolutely does not like this attack. He wants to save the oil, not burn it. And when people see burning oil, all they'll notice are higher gas prices. But there is another real reason because of which Donald Trump can't pull back right now. He can't withdraw support from Israel, especially Donald Trump. So he won't do anything like that, and the answer to that is the Epstein Files. As soon as the war began, the Justice Department publicly released and made available some new files, and both the specific timing of the release and their content were equally exclusive. Because these files that have now been released specifically focus on and target Donald Trump, and some deeply concerning and disturbing revelations have come out in these new files. In this significant new revelation, these latest Trump files include a detailed FBI interview. It mentions that after the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was arrested back in 2019, a woman came forward to the FBI and shared her personal story. In her statement, she says that a few years ago, when she was just 13 years old, Epstein introduced her to Donald Trump. Then, in a very large and empty room, she was left completely alone with Trump, who she had been entrusted to. In that quiet room, not only did Trump attempt to sexually assault the young girl, but when she bravely resisted his advances, he even violently hit her. The details of this encounter are so horrifying, so vile that we cannot describe them here. But this is on record and has now become public in the Epstein Files. This statement was in the FBI's records since 2019, at which time Trump was the president. So obviously the investigation in this case did not progress much further, and the FBI very conveniently buried the matter. But Trump knew that this document existed somewhere. That's why, after returning to office, he has made every effort to suppress it. Even when the Justice Department, at the behest of Congress, began the process of releasing all the files, every effort was made to ensure that this specific file would disappear. But when nothing else worked, the Justice Department finally released it, or you could say was effectively forced to release it. So now, when such serious allegations have come up against Trump, the Justice Department is defending itself by saying that this particular document was mistakenly marked as a duplicate, which is why we couldn't release it. What kind of excuse is that? After this most recent serious allegation has come out, the entire world will know that Trump will now have to search for a distraction even bigger than war. Otherwise, it would have been extremely difficult for him to save himself this time. If you take a moment to look, in the span of just 2 days, Tehran has been engulfed in raging flames in such a brutal manner. The fire that was set in Tehran will have consequences that the people living there will have to endure for years. Breathing in such air, experts say that for children, getting cancer within 10 to 20 years is almost certain. This is a medical fact. What happens 10 or 20 years from now can be dealt with later. Let's talk about what's happening right now today. The way oil reserves have been targeted by the US and Israel in front of the whole world, they are putting the entire global economy at risk. And when the economy takes such a severe hit, when people start panicking, maybe they'll forget about the Epstein Files. America's habit of creating chaos in other countries is actually quite old. There's even a movie called Wag the Dog, where to avoid a scandal, the American president starts a fake war. Now, whether this is a tragedy or a comedy, but this movie has actually come true. Trump himself used to loudly say at the time that Obama would attack Iran just to save his ratings. An attack on Iran did happen, but it was the so-called peace messenger Trump himself who ordered it. And he did it in such a situation where support for the war is decreasing even further. But perhaps Trump has no other way out. Trump just got caught in Israel's trap. The war that the past 67 consecutive presidents consistently refused to initiate, Israel made numerous attempts, but they ultimately failed. But it was Trump who started that war. He even crippled Iran. I agree, but what did America get in return? But today, even if Trump wants to, he can't back out of this war. If he does, he'll lose his seat. Let me explain how. A few weeks ago, this would have sounded like complete fiction or a total conspiracy to you. It seemed that way to me too. But today, it seems to be coming true. Is Israel blackmailing Donald Trump? Is there even more dirt in the Epstein file that perhaps even the American investigative agency, the FBI, doesn't know about? The evidence they're looking for might be in Israel. It might be with Mossad. Various allegations regarding Trump have been made in the Epstein file before as well. So far, Trump has dismissed them as baseless and managed to avoid trouble. He says, oh, this is all just talk. Show me the evidence. The evidence for all of Trump's dark secrets might be with Israel, on the basis of which they managed to drag Trump into a pointless war. For Israel, it is a war of great significance. If Israel wants to create a greater Israel, then this war holds a lot of meaning for them. But for America, what kind of war is this? No one seems to understand yet. And now I'm not even talking about some conspiracy theory. From these Epstein files, we have learned that in October 2020, the FBI suspected that Epstein was working for Israel. An FBI informant has also properly documented this. It is clearly stated in the court records that Epstein was a co-opted Mossad agent. Yeah. He was a strategically recruited asset of Israel's foreign intelligence agency Mossad. Epstein was specifically trained for this role. See? As a spy, this is exactly what the FBI's own document says, which was suppressed from the public for many years. Well, it's just common sense. Epstein and his extremely powerful and high-profile molester friends, those predators, people with such tendencies can do anything to hide their darkest and most horrific misdeeds. They can spend staggering amounts of money and hire as much security as they want. But Epstein used to maintain all these things in files, catalog them, classify them. Why did he do that? For whom did he do that? Is it really that hard to understand? And not just that, in the new files, we also learned that Epstein had an unusually close relationship with Israel's ex-Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Barak himself was a retired military general. He had over several decades of extensive experience in Israeli intelligence. And now we are finding out that he used to frequently and regularly stay as a guest at Epstein's Manhattan house. And this building itself is said to hold many dark and hidden secrets. You must have heard the stories about how Epstein had installed secret cameras throughout his building. Then he would record high-profile politicians engaging in disgusting acts. And then perhaps he would even blackmail them. And now we are finding out that these were not just stories. According to reports, in 2016, a new security system was installed in this building. New cameras, an entirely new surveillance setup. And it has come to light who installed all these things: Israeli security officials. Epstein personally approved meetings between his staff and Israeli officials to have these new cameras installed. You can connect the dots and the chronology yourself. A building where the world's most powerful people come and go, where underage girls are brought in, and the entire surveillance of that building is in the hands of Israeli officials. In intelligence circles, there's even a name for such operations. Gather information on people that can be used as compromat so they can be permanently controlled. By the way, for years this used to be Russia's favorite tool. We have across the country. But even before, this question has been raised many times, looking at Trump's behavior, the way he acts and speaks at Israel's behest. It seems as if someone is remotely controlling him from behind. This war also seems to be a result of that same remote control, because in this, the Americans are getting nothing at all. America, in this war, whether America wins or loses, it's not going to make much difference to people. Yet America keeps fighting, keeps getting people killed, keeps incurring its own losses. Its reputation has been completely shredded. That's the thing. This is something else entirely. Acting solely at Israel's behest isn't just friendship, it's not just being allies. It feels like servitude, and today the whole world is paying the price for this servitude.